Welcome to Focus Garage. Today we're gonna reveal our project car. I just picked up not that long ago, and this was kind of one of my dream cars. Well, the configuration at least.
So let me share that famous configuration that makes this car so cool. And I love explaining this to people who don't know what it is. This car is a turbocharged, manual transmission, all-wheel drive, 5-cylinder wagon. Now, if you're into cars at all and that doesn't get you excited, there's something wrong with you. I don't know what to tell you.
The top of the line would be brown
and diesel.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have all that, but we're damn near close.
We're pretty close. So
what is this actually?
What this car is, this is a 1989 Audi 200 Quattro Avant.
It's a long name.
For a long boy.
This is one very, very long car. And you know, we've done a lot of newer vehicle stuff on the channel, and Ander really has a liking for these older German cars, particularly this one. And he wanted to dive into something like this, so I said, go ahead and send it. So do you want to tell them kind of what we want to do with this car?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it close to stock as possible. Nothing crazy power-wise. It already has some kind of tune in it that makes it 220 horsepower. I'm just going to keep it the way it is. I want to do the basic maintenance basically, and all the gaskets and seals and engine mounts and anything that it's rubber and gasket material, I would like to replace it just for peace of mind, because I do want this car to be a long cruiser where we would take on a road trip with our motorcycles in the back and do some adventure stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the plan for this car is not to make it, a crazy fast drag race or anything like that. We just want to make it a car that, you can reliably get in and drive across a couple states if you need to, and, have fun while doing it. Obviously, all-wheel drive, manual wagon. This is something you could take down, like Forest Reserve trails and stuff like that. If you wanted to take it somewhere up in the mountains, you could do that. So we want versatility is really what we're going for with this car.
This is going to be adventure build minus the adventure stuff.
I'm not going to lift it and put mud tires on it.
No, we're going to bag it and we're going to drop it on tarmacs.
Slam it on tarmacs and daily it.
We're not going to do that either. We're going to keep it the way it is. We are going to replace the wheels on these. These are very popular wheels, but I do not like them.
So we're not a fan of the look. So we got something better coming up, and you'll see. But we're going to go ahead and show you around this vehicle. Keep in mind, as of today, this vehicle is 30 years old. This is a 1989. So it's not going to be perfect unless you're spending huge money on one for like bring a trailer or something like that. But this car's got character, and that's what we love about it.
And we're going to keep that character patina for this car as long as it's not damaging the infrastructure.
And that's the cool thing about this, is the core of this car is in great shape. There's no rot holes in it. It hasn't been like totally compromised in an accident where the frame is bent. It's not leaking puddles of fluid. The car is a great core, great chassis to work off of.
And I was underneath the car, and I'll show you guys as when we move along with our DIY stuff, and you guys will see that there's almost no rust underneath the car, which is surprising because this car spent most of its life in Michigan,
Maine, right?
And Maine, yeah.
So it's been all over the country, which is neat. So we're going to keep that tradition going with it. So let's go ahead. We'll show you around this car.
Yeah, let's go. So you can see the car is pretty straightforward from the sides. It does have some rust issues, but nothing poking through. The hardest thing would be this spot right here that's like a little bit bubbly. You can see right there. And then when we move on down to the side of the car, and you'll see that spot right there is kind of rusty, but they're all surface rust, so it should be easy to fix. So it does have these Fuchs wheels, which
very desirable to some people. They're worth a lot of money if you find them on Amazon.
eBay or eBay most likely.
eBay, not Amazon.
Yeah. The paint is this is a pearl white, and I would like to keep it that way. Maybe do some. It's a one stage as far as we know. Just do some buffing, and
the car's almost like a semi-gloss right now. So yeah, we wonder if after a good detailing we could bring back some of the shine to it.
Yeah, there are some spots that we would definitely have to repaint, but that's along the way. Exterior of the car is not my priority, except that bubble spot that I show you guys. And when we move on to the front of the car, these headlights are very, very bad. Even if it's cleaned up, it's going to be bad because of the US spec headlights from Germany. They're really bad. I wish I could find like set of European ones and pop those in, but that's again not a priority at the moment. So when we move on to the driver's side, again, same spots. You can see that has the surface rust.
So what's real about us here is we're showing you all the flaws. We're not gonna put camera magic on it and say this car is this mint thing that we picked up for $2,000. You know, we're showing you that what to expect when looking at a car of this age. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And you can see there's some like
paint cracking here
that needs to be fixed. But when you look really hard in there, you can see that the body panels are galvanized. So that's like something very high level in that time frame, I guess, if you want to say that, because this car is not that rusty. Famous wavy trim. I'm not sure how we're going to fix that, but we're going to move along to the back.
Show these awesome full width tail lights. This is one of the coolest angles of the car here. Is it's got these giant tail lights that span across the whole hatch there.
And then you come closer to the Quattro.
Oh, yeah, you've got a Quattro inscripted in the window there.
It's a defrost, so I heard that when it's like really icy, the first thing comes off is the Quattro writing in the window.
Pan the camera around here. I want to see if they can kind of get a better look at it in the glass there. I think so. I hope so, because it is one of the neatest things about the car is the Quattro and the defrost.
And then
line.
you have this like
mid-wing,
just almost same material as a Porsche 911 turbo whale
tail.
I mean, it does have some issues.
Here's really the worst of it. This quarter panel's got some paint fading on it and a little bit of a side swipe mark or something along the lines of that. Maybe they whacked something coming out of the garage. But again, you know, the car is 30 years old. Finding a perfect condition one of these, you're really, really going to pay for it.
Another thing is that there's chrome roof rails that needs to be polished basically, and then it will be 100% back again.
You should definitely plastic dip them. I'm just kidding.
Right. Yeah, and you can see that the weathering around the door is not that good, but when you look inside, I'll open the door.
There we go. Let's see.
There you go, the thong. When you look inside, this material is still pretty decent, so we'll just keep that.
You want to show the interior from this angle here?
Man, do I want to show you?
From this angle, it looks pretty good. I'd keep it going this way, towards the driver's side.
There are some rips on the seats you can see over here, and then when you move on to the biggest rip on the driver's side, you know that person was sweating when shifting, and I ripped a good hole in there. So we're going to try to fix it as much as possible, and then going into the dials, and then you see there's a crack there.
You want to tell them some of your favorite features about this ar for the time? We got a couple of them in the interior here.
Let's sit down and show you guys what my favorite is. We do have heated seats on the front, okay, and then this is for the driver. Everything works here, by the way. You can control the only driver, and then the passenger, when you turn it on, if someone is sitting in the back, they're heated. It's also heated seats.
The entire rear section is heated based on the passenger setting. So this is front and rear heated seats in a 1989.
1989, and it works. It
works you
really well. It's very nice that from a 1989 German car that these electricals are working so far. We do have aftermarket radio here. That's not my favorite.
But what's below that? Digital climate.
Right. This is so awesome. This works as well, and you have this like Fahrenheit and Celsius right here. If I can.
Yeah, if you want to be European AF, you can do that, or if you want to be USDM spec, you got that too.
But the funny thing is, this is from a Cadillac. So,
it's pretty much straight out of one, right? I mean, it's original to this car, but it's the same unit I think that Cadillac and GM was using back then, right?
Yeah, it just original OEM Audi / Cadillac unit, I guess.
Gotcha. Dashboard mounted key fob, which is pretty cool, rather than on the steering wheel there.
Right. So. This is like very close to being a Porsche, but
just
it's on the wrong side. So you do have the voltage, oil pressure, oil temperature, and then in the middle you have the digital boost gauge, which works as well, and you have a clock there. So this car does show 172,000 miles on it, and it hasn't been working for a while, so who knows how many miles on it, but it does look like it's pretty like 100 I would say like 190. It's less than 200,000 miles.
Right around there.
Yeah. And you have this very, very ugly steering wheel that I would be replacing 100% because I am terrified by that first gen airbags. So, moving on to the windows, automatic driver side, and the rest is regular, but you do have auto down.
Power seats in the front.
Yeah, all these are power seat,
Full
and
power.
they're all working as well. Very, very cool. And look at this. No one does this anymore. Open headrest.
I love it. It reminds me of Volvo a lot.
Yeah, and you have it in the back too, like full size. This is really cool, and it does have a sunroof, moonroof / whatever you want to call that, and it works as well.
So that's pretty neat. So you want to show them under the hood what this 5 cylinders of Fury looks like?
Yeah, and just do a little bit of interior, the
Glamour shots.
Yeah, and needs to be cleaned up. This is a very dirty car. So
this is one of the first video. I mean, this is the first video we're filming of it. So this is pretty much very similar to how we got the car. So we're trying to document the process of once we clean it up and do some maintenance to it.
And this is the tuned up ECU right there. If you guys want to wondering, there it is. So let's move on to the engine bay and show you guys what we are about to do. Most of our DIY videos are going to be about engine, drivetrain related, and then we are going to do some interior cleaning as well because we have to before we catch something we don't want. So let's move on to the engine. Coming into the engine bay, my favorite is this, where it says turbo. Tells you that it has turbo. When you look really down there, a small turbo, right? Hard to see. It's there, trust me.
We promise.
And
the valve cover too, show them that, because this is when Audi was very new in the United States. You got the Volkswagen Audi inscripted right there on the valve cover, which is pretty cool.
It's really cool. This is what they call a slant 5-cylinder because the cylinders are, well, to the right.
Not straight vertical. It's
right,
literally
it's
angled.
Yeah, it's not an inline. So it's almost like a half a V10. You can say that.
Just tell all your friends that.
Yeah. So this looks like very, very frustrating. Bunch of vacuum lines, bunch of wires, and there's some like random wires that are over there. What we're going to do is we're going to go through most of them and figure out where they're going, and if we don't need it, we're just going to toast it out. So there's some stuff that it's not working that should be some of the vacuum line that goes into the rear diff, which it does have an air like differential, only works till like 5 miles or 45 miles or something like that. It's very finicky. It's not working currently. It could be just because of fuse or something like that. So we're gonna figure that out. Other than that, you can see there's like a bunch of oil spots over here, and then there's some power steering fluid, and then if you look, the oil pan is pretty wet down there. That's because of the gaskets are all messed up. So we're going to replace those. We're going to replace most of the exhaust gaskets as well because there are some exhaust leak, and then pretty much it. We're just gonna do some basic maintenance.
Timing belt is a big one because we have no idea when that was last done. So
right, according to the previous owner, it was done like 2-3 years ago. So that's how long they last. So I'm just going to replace it. And Audi, this kind of time period, Audi is very, very small company, I guess, and they were throwing parts, whatever left over, in their bin, and these engines do not exactly have what they say. So like the timing belt, when I first bought it, it was incorrect because Audi decided to put it newer timing belt on an older engine.
They make mid-year changes for no reason.
Yeah, and it was not exactly mid-year either. It was just like, till the parts run out.
Which you might have this one, you might have that one.
Yeah, so it's kind of hard to get parts before you see it. So if you're tackling a task like this, make sure you take the part off first and then move on to it. So when we go up to hood, you can see there are some parts, wires that are dangling there. We're thinking it's somewhere here that goes, but other than that, it does have most of the stuff here.
It's got an intercooler from the factory. They are air cooled, not the engine, but obviously the turbo.
It's
air
very
to air intercooler.
Small right there, and this right here is the radiator, it's like a Honda Civic.
You got a half-size radiator.
Yeah, half-size radiator, because engine comes all the way up there because of the transmission, which is right here. Because it's Quattro.
It's very interesting. Like, one thing I always thought was neat about these is you can see the crash bar literally bends out to clearance the timing belt cover and all that. Instead of like the way most cars have a pretty straight crash bar across the front, this vehicle's got the one that kind of curves out just so it can clearance all the whole front of the motor there, which it's cool, you know.
I mean, they basically designed this car, almost looks like, for the engine.
Yeah, it looks like literally they put an engine and they're like, all right, let's build an entire car around it. The whole way the engine bay is shaped, they'll like put the radiator off to the side here, the transmission, everything. It's really neat. I think this car is so unique and it's got so much potential to just be different than everything else out there.
Yeah, and that's why I like it. That's what I like about this car. It's unique. It's very unique, and there's not many out there. And I would like to save this car. I don't want to make it unreliable or like go crazy power, because it's not for it. This car is old and deserves a good retirement.
And I was telling Andre before he bought it, and I'm not sure about you guys, I don't think I've ever seen one on the road. It's just not a car that, you know, there wasn't many here in the first place when they were new, and now that the car is 30 years old, I never see them around. I literally think this is the first one that I've seen up close in person in real life, and I'm curious if you guys have seen these around, or if you own one, you know, maybe that's what brought you to the video. Definitely let us know, you know, we'd love any kind of knowledge and input from, you know, people that have owned these cars. They're definitely very unique.
Yeah, I'm definitely going into this blind. I have never worked on anything like this, and there are information out there, but you know, there were forum posts about it that's been like 6 years. No one posts anything about it, so I don't even know if they resolved the issue or not. You know, there's a lot of dead ends to this. So enough rambling. Let's see what the car sounds like.
All right.
So we don't really know what kind of exhaust it has. It does have an exhaust leak, but I think it still sounds good. So let's do a start up and see what it is.